Welcome to Bat Therapy, mental health through the lens of comics and film. Be a fly on the wall or a bat in the cave, listening in on a friendship built out of a love for talking Batman, comics, and the everyday struggle to achieve mental health and happiness.
We are your hosts, clinical psychologist Dr. Amelia Brown and educator and comic aficionado Keaton Hopkins. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube and social media and find our Patreon at patreon.com/battherapy.
This podcast is about providing education and understanding and is not a replacement for mental health treatment or support. If you're needing help, go to bat-therapy.com for resources. All right, it's time for some mishmashing of a bunch of random characters into one episode.
Right, yeah, and I think this is the best way to do this because first off, I remember the day that they revealed the cast of Avengers Doomsday, and I think they did something crazy. Like they announced a new name like every hour or something like that.
Yeah.
But there's like 30 people in the cast, and so it took all day to go through everyone that was in this movie. And so we've been talking like throughout, like with all the different case studies, and it was either you or me that noted that like some of the confirmed people in these movies, we don't really know where they're going to fit in. And so there were 4 specifically that we thought of. There was Loki, who last time we saw him was at the end of the 2nd season, where he's basically the god of timelines presiding over the multiverse. There's Shang-Chi, who is probably still singing karaoke in San Fran.
One can hope.
With Aquafina, right, in my dreams, right? Sam Wilson, the new Captain America, who was asked by the president, even though the president was in prison at the time, to restart the Avengers. I'm pretty sure that's breaking some kind of laws, but that's not really something the United States cares about these days, so I'll let it fly. And then apparently Channing Tatum's going to be in this movie reprising his role as Gambit. Now, with Gambit, I don't know if it is the Gambit that's outside of his timeline that we saw last in Deadpool and Wolverine, or if this is a Gambit that is a member of whatever universe of the X-Men we are going to see.
Sure, yeah. And so when it came to these characters, Gambit obviously has shown up so little, and Shang-Chi only has 1 movie, and we've already done an episode on that movie. If you haven't listened to it, then you can go back, 2 seasons, 3 seasons? I forget. You can search it.
Yeah.
But we have a Shang-Chi episode.
Do your own research.
Mm-hmm. We even had a guest who joined us to chat about it. Sam Wilson's come up in a bunch of different ways, and we riffed with him a little bit in terms of who gets to be Captain America, and then we've talked about Loki before as well. Plus, Loki's just a giant question mark for this one. So this was kind of a catch-all episode of, okay, these are people that are going to be in the movie, but we just didn't know for one reason or another for each one of them how much we had to say about them individually. So we figured we'd pile them all together and just chat about it.
Yeah. Now, and I think that so if we go in order, like starting off with Loki, he's been through a bunch. And the thing is, the way that they ended the 2nd season of Loki, it really did kind of flush out his story. And I thought pretty much gave closure to his character. Like, okay, he's basically the Lord of Time. He's controlling all the timelines himself now. And that's basically his purpose. And now that, of course, we have a multiverse movie coming up, it does make sense that he's going to get back into the swing of things. The first thing that I think about is him reuniting potentially with Thor. And how that is going to play such a big role, because Thor has been mourning the loss of so many people, his family, half of his people, like between Thanos and just all of that ordeal. He has just been going through it. And what's bad is like, I didn't even think about this. So Thor's planet blew up got destroyed by his sister
That he didn't know about.
that he didn't know about after she also killed the father. His he lost his mom in Thor 2, which what a terrible movie for her to have to leave in, but I digress, right? He lost his girlfriend in Thor 4. At the end of Thor 3, you see Thanos show up and half of kill the people that were on the ship, right?
And
And
then
so
he
anyone that was
almost kills Thanos too.
right.
And
But
then
I didn't even think about this. The 5 years that he was alive, when Thanos snapped, he took another half of the people that were still remaining with him too.
you know,
Like,
it's just lazy math. Thanos did very,
yeah.
very lazy math. It makes no sense. They're like, "Oh, look at all the whales." Okay, that suggests that he did more complicated math, perhaps, because there should be half the you have an endangered species, and
Well, we saw birds
which is
disappear. That's what's wild. Like
so
he
yeah, so
said he snapped away half of all living things. And yeah,
it's
it's
lazy
terrible
math.
math.
It's lazy. It's lazy because it makes no yeah, it makes no sense when you already have endangered species, which essentially Thor and his crew dwindled down to nearly nothing.
So
So just kind of weird.
I get on my high horse a little bit for this because I actually designed and taught a biostatistics course centered around if Thanos' snap would have worked.
Ooh.
Yeah, I did. And it was so much fun. It was one of the first classes I ever designed when I was working for the school that I'm at currently. And so it was when I got hired, I was like, what am I allowed to teach? And they go, hey, you can teach whatever you want as long as
And
it's
you
not
said,
like
"Oh, you should not have told me that."
illegal. I was like, really? Like it was like Rock Lee taking the weights off his legs. Naruto reference for anyone out there. And that was the first one that came to mind. I'm like, we're doing biostatistics because I did my background is in quantitative research and analysis. And so the first thing we said, okay, we got to define what's considered living, right? Because there were a lot of people that were mourning severely, but also in line at Walmart trying to buy any Pepto Bismol they could find because half the gut bacteria disappeared in their stomach,
Yeah. It's a really great point.
right? Like
It's a really great
yeah,
point.
we had so much fun with that. And it's like, wow, Thanos, as if the honeybee wasn't already fighting for its life, you just went like like you're wreaking havoc on a lot of ecosystems right
I mean,
now.
for argument's sake, there would be more space for everything. But if it should have been, yeah, leave alone all the things that are look at things proportionally,
Right. And it
instead of
doesn't change. If there are 10 people and 10 pigs, and then there's 5 people and 5 pigs, nothing changed. Like the
no, no,
ratio
no,
is
no, no,
still
no.
exactly the same.
I don't agree with that because the amount of land mass did not change. Although, granted, living, he didn't get rid of half the trees. So
No,
now I'm confused.
right. Trees didn't count, but we saw birds disappear at the end of Ant-Man 3. We saw birds disappear. So
Yeah, so I guess I'm vaguely confused, but okay,
yeah,
but particularly if the environment
Ant-Man
to
2. Yeah.
a certain amount sticks around, then I hear you. And let's take an endangered species, I don't know, like a whale. And there's the same amount of ocean, and you have half of the endangered type of whale, but you also have half of the predators and less people who can go out after them in the ocean, or whatever it is. So some things might do better. Anyway, we're getting off track, but
Yeah. Anyway. But
we
yeah,
always get off track with Loki and all the things related to him.
we'll ask Loki about it. But yeah, but
So
anyway,
actually, that's what I wonder. The Ask Loki. So you had a good point. Thor's been through a lot. Interestingly, Loki is a very different guy now. he's essentially this god of time, and he's wise in a lot of ways. It's just weird to say, probably through just everything he's been through, but also his perspective shift is huge here. He's looking at things from way, way far away. He's not as zoomed in. And so I could see potentially, yeah, with like you were saying, Thor struggling with everything. Maybe he goes to visit this version of Loki and asks for his advice on stuff before he, goes on his way to do whatever.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And the thing is, I think it's gonna put Loki at a standstill too, because his whole thing was basically tearing and weeding through the different timelines and more or less becoming quite the god
Yeah.
of mischief, if you will. And so I'm really interested in seeing how he plays a factor into all of this. Because the thing is, Doctor Doom is, and Marvel nerds out there, you can correct the hell out of me if I'm wrong, but I could have sworn Doctor Doom is still just a earthborn human. Like he's not an alien. He's not like made of like Norse technology, like nothing like that. He's just a extremely smart human. Like the way I thought about it is if you could like you could kind of compare him a little bit to like that Lex Luthor
Yeah.
level. Like that's how I had always imagined
So
Doctor
you're
like
seeing it as not enough for what might be coming in the movie.
right. Like, how is he fighting Loki? How is he fighting Thor? Like, I'm really interested in seeing
Well,
how all of this goes because the Rise of the Silver Surfer movie with Doctor Doom, he ends up getting a huge power up because he finds a way to knock the Silver Surfer off of the surfboard, and then
right,
he
yeah.
gets on it, and it gets even more powerful. And yeah,
So I think you had a good point with Loki's still the god of mischief, even if he's the god of time now. So here's another perspective. Maybe he gets bored and
okay,
he's like, I'm stuck here and I'm just doing my thing. And so I don't know, maybe he's part of creating mischief of these multiverses getting layered on top and weaving amongst each other because he gets bored and he's like, all right, let's do some mischief. That could be
okay,
fun.
that could be fun. I could see
So
that. I
it's like
could see
him
that being
behind
a
the
thing.
scenes this whole time, manipulating everybody, ending up, crossing paths and everything across multiverses. That could be cool.
Okay, I could see that. I could see that happening. I could see that potentially being a thing. And yeah, that does sound like it could be fun. I definitely think at some point there's going to be a conversation between him and Doom.
Mm,
Like what are you doing here? Like in my realm. Like this is what are you doing here?
yep, yep.
Like this is
What do you
still
think's gonna happen
the
here?
same character that Thor said turned into a snake just to bite him. And so,
I mean, he's been through a lot since then.
yeah,
And it's kinda like the people change over time and they also stay the same. Both are
right,
true.
right.
So
Yeah,
that would be really fun to see toyed around with Loki. Okay, so that's Loki.
right. All right. Now, Loki. And then next up, Shang-Chi,
Mm.
right? So,
Love me some Shang-Chi. So excited. He better
so,
be in there for more than like a split second doing karaoke with Katie. I
right.
want her there too for the record.
The last time we saw him, he discovered a huge aspect of his life after being trained as a super assassin by his father, as they
As you
do,
do.
right? Yeah,
Jinx.
that's how, yeah, that's what you do, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Declan does not know it yet, but it's coming. Yeah.
Sure. Stands to reason.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's just how that goes, right? And so he gets trained, super assassin, goes through this whole thing where he finds out more about his mom's origin and goes to
Mhm.
that village and then
Which is like a
sees his
magical village.
right. And then his dad makes like a sacrifice play and saves him
Mm,
after all of that. And so now he's in charge of an extremely powerful artifact with the 10 rings. He's had contact now with Doctor Strange's crew because I always God, I forgot his name, but he basically comes and talks to him. Is like, all right, this is going to be a thing. Like, we're going to have to stay in touch here.
You mean
And
Wong? Is that who
Wong,
you're referring to?
yes,
Yep.
yes, that's it. Yes, thank you. And now he's basically just still him, right? Still just getting drunk and doing karaoke with his friends, but also definitely a huge part of this picture when it comes to the sheer power that he now
Yeah. So here's
wields.
a question. Do you think him and or Katie got snapped?
So
Because this is a question you have to ask yourself about characters you haven't seen for a while is what is their history with the snap?
that's a good question because that it take his story takes place post snap, isn't it?
Is it post?
I
Why was
thought
I thinking it
Shang-Chi
was
was post
pre-snap?
snap.
Maybe it is post-snap.
Yeah. I think
Well, so he wasn't snapped then.
well, he
Is he in the middle time when the snap has happened, but it hasn't been undone yet? Is that where
mm-mm.
he is? No,
Because
he's
they
after
did,
the
yeah,
whole
they didn't
thing.
make because they didn't make anything between those. Like nothing came out between Avengers Infinity War
Yeah, so
and
okay, so Endgame was
Endgame.
2019,
Yeah,
and then Shang-Chi was 2021.
yeah. So Shang-Chi technically I think takes place
Okay. I don't
all
remember
of
them
that.
talk okay, case in point, this is one of our issues with the MCU, right? Is it's like how did it not come up? I don't remember it coming up in the movie. Do you remember the snap coming up? So, okay.
Maybe I need to rewatch. It's a lot. The MCU is a lot
There's
now.
so much.
There's so many movies and TV shows and one shots and
Do
just
you
there's a
hear us?
lot.
We're so overwhelmed. Our listeners are probably like, "You have no idea." It's like if we people who are like, "Shucks, I gotta watch a movie or TV show for fun so I can chat about it with my friend on this podcast." We're struggling to keep up. They've yeah, it's a bit much. Yeah, because I mean, I love this movie. I also haven't seen it in a while because I've been busy trying to catch up with all the other stuff. So I don't remember them mentioning the snap, but you're right. It was afterward. I was misremembering the timeline of stuff because there's 5 million things now. So they're just hanging out and chilling and doing whatever. How this is okay. I was
I'm
gonna ask a question
guessing
of how long, but then that's even a complicated like whose timeline are we in? What are we doing? How long have people been doing stuff?
and that's the thing, and that's why I keep thinking about it. I'm like, all right, so they haven't I don't think they've confirmed that Doctor Strange is in this movie, but I have a hard time believing that he isn't. Because
Yeah.
he like if if this is this big of an event, he's gonna have to show up. And I think if Shang's showing up, then that
Then Wong's
means
probably showing
that
up.
right,
'Cause come on, everybody loves Wong.
right. Right, and last time we saw Wong, he was hanging out with She-Hulk, so that like, there's all kinds of
Love how he just pops up everywhere.
right,
That must be such a
right,
fun job.
yeah, be able to teleport, you just go wherever you want, and so, yeah, I really do think he's gonna play a factor in it, but the thing is, like, with Doctor Doom, he's like, I'm just r there's so much we don't know about the movie, and so I'm really interested in seeing the where Shang-Chi plays a factor in it because the thing is, I have a feeling he will probably end up somewhere with Sam Wilson. And the reason I say that is when Sam Wilson's just going to be going around trying to reform the Avengers, I think he's going to be one of those that's on the outside looking in that Sam's like, He's we have a like, he has a
Yeah,
folder on him. He has
he'd be a fool not to try and get him on board. Yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
has a folder on him, right? Because he's not the
That's
fun
a really great
yeah,
point. So Shang-Chi also, he's like over on the West Coast. So he's not in New York like the 5 bajillion people over there.
right.
Um,
Plus
and I
Ant-Man's
think
in
having
San
people
Fran.
s yeah, yeah. I think having people spread out to a certain degree would be a really great expansion of the Avengers because not everything happens in New York.
Right.
I know it's hard to believe. So having people spread out would be good. I mean, he's so powerful. He's got tons of skills. Kind of a slacker dude, but he was trained since a kid. He clearly has the prowess and ability and knows how to deal with weird, magical, unexpected stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you that he would be someone that Sam Wilson would be looking at. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think my struggle with Shang-Chi is we haven't seen him in a while. because it came out, what, 20, I think I said 2021. So it's been about 5 years. And so has 5 years passed for him between then and Doomsday? That I'm assuming they're gonna use an older version of his character. I mean, like, I know Asian don't raisin and whatnot, but, like, still, he's the actor's older now, you know?
Shout out to our producer, Bill.
Yeah. My husband is Asian and loves saying that, so hopefully I don't get canceled.
Like, let's give the origin of that phrase.
We stole it. No. We stole it from I think there was like it was like a YouTube or something thing where it's like, what would you do with, it was like an Asian bachelorette. It was hilarious. And one of them says Asian don't raisin.
Love
And
that.
I'm sure other people have said it before that, but
Yeah.
we've loved that phrase ever since.
Yeah. We
But
always say
like,
black don't crack. That's the one that we,
exactly,
yeah.
black don't crack, Asian don't raisin, and I'm white, so I'm screwed.
Yeah. It's just
It's fine.
you burn in the sun. That's what, yeah, I don't know.
It's fine. I'm gonna look my age, and Bill is gonna look 35 until he looks 157 at the age of 90. But yeah, so it's hard for me to get a sense of where Shang-Chi is gonna be at. Are they gonna pluck him out randomly from that moment in time? Because Doomsday, I mean, the different multiverses might be on completely different timelines and time frames of things. Is this, as much as you know, like, this Shang-Chi, is he in the same multiverse as the Sam Wilson that we've been following?
Yes.
And, the general Avengers and da da da? Okay.
Yes, he is. And the reason we know that is because of both Wong and Abomination. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Okay.
so,
I'm
yeah,
with you. I'm with you.
he is
Yes, that makes
in
sense. Okay.
that same
Okay.
universe. And so go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, okay, so given that, unless something funky happens with how they maneuver the multiverses, probably he's been living his life for at least 5 years
Hmm.
before this next movie comes up.
Right.
God,
And
I hope he's just been doing karaoke though.
yeah, well, and that's the thing. That the thing is, who like I'm not sure who he would be out there fighting against right now, because the thing is,
Yeah. I
like,
think that's where I'm getting stuck to.
we have like a set of martial artists in the MCU, because we have him, we have Danny Rand, and like his whole crew, like Colleen Wing and all of them. Like, in the comics, they normally interact with
That makes
each
sense.
other.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so I'm really interested in seeing, like, if they like what they're doing, because my other theory is, and I can't remember how that post credit scene went, but those 10 rings are powerful enough that they're almost like a beacon. And they said something about how it was
Oh, they
sending
did.
out like a signal. And
You're
I'm like,
right.
right. And I'm like, that's always a bad sign. Like, I'm like,
Now,
that's bad.
that was probably back when they thought King the Conqueror was going to be,
That's
but
true.
still, they could still use that.
Right. Yeah.
They don't
Because if
have to
it,
use it for
yeah.
the same thing they thought back then. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, are
And
they
so
still a
it
beacon
could,
of some sort?
for all we know, the 10 rings could be what what brings them straight there, the way the Tesseract
Hey,
did
interesting.
everything else in the MCU and set everything off.
Is my struggle. It is kind of a, what has Shang-Chi been doing? But I guess next time for our next episode, when we hit on Doctor Strange, probably the same kind of question comes up. They're gonna have slightly more similar things that they're focusing on, I think, compared to the Avengers and what they focus on, right?
Right. But what I hope is, because at the end of their movie, like, him and his best friend, they had
Katie.
matured. Yeah, they had matured so much. I hope that they are doing kind of a Batman and Robin thing in San Francisco when we see them again. Like, they're just like, yeah, I hope that they're just kind of doing like some vigilante work on the side.
That
Whilst,
could be fun
yeah,
while they're
that's, yeah,
still, uh
yeah. And that's how they get
yeah, doing
discovered.
valet. They were
Yeah.
valets, yeah.
And that's how they get discovered. It's like, yeah, they valet someone's car, and it's just like Nick Fury in the back, like, yeah, this is a self-driving car.
Well, it's tricky, right? like you said, he all of a sudden he learns about this magical realm that his mom is from this magical village and has to save it, and there's dragons and all sorts of stuff and things. And then you get plopped back where you were. And yeah, that would be so weird. And Katie, I mean, she had nothing. She wasn't trained to do anything this, that, and all of a sudden she's shooting arrows and, doing her thing. So, yeah, I bet they connect more with Wong. It seems like that's a piece. So maybe he, yeah, introduces them to a little bit of the not so known world around San Francisco, and they dip their toes in that way or something. Because it's a man, that's gotta give you some sort of magical whiplash to go from the every well, I mean, Shang-Chi, like, went from, "My dad's training me to be an assassin," to, "Now I'm a valet hanging out in San Francisco with my bestie doing karaoke," and then they get whipped over to this magical land, and then you're all of a sudden you're back, and that's just such huge shifts and swings. And yeah, that would be a fun way to do it, though, is maybe they settle into, "Okay, well, let's do a little bit of it here and there, but keep our norm." So,
Yeah,
maybe, I don't know,
yeah.
we'll see.
Well, because he's so interesting in that even without those rings, he's still potential
He's
Avengers.
baller.
He's still Avengers potential. Like even without the rings, like he is
Yeah,
badass, right? Like
that whole bus
yeah,
scene,
it's one. It's so ridiculous, but so awesome.
it's
It's
gorgeous.
so ridiculous,
It's
but so awesome. And
gorgeous.
you're like, and it's the first time you realize he's like that. Like he is built different. He is not like he's not normal. And we get to basically see that through the lens of Katie
Yep.
too, because
Yep, yep,
it's
yep, yep.
so good. Like, what the hell was that? This is what? What?
That poor
It's
girl's trying to
yeah.
drive the bus, yeah. Yeah,
And he's like, yeah, by the way, my dad trained me to be a super killer
he
assassin.
would definitely be, yeah, he would be Avengers material. Do you think you had a point, though? There are certain characters that what they focus on is kind of different. And so you had mentioned it with the X-Men versus the Avengers. They overlap in some ways, they don't in others. And so when you were talking about his character tends to hang out with martial arts characters and doing this other stuff. In some ways, he's a bit of a mismatch for the Avengers, but at least insofar as they introduced him and whatnot, I could definitely see him being one that they were like, okay, we need someone who's more of this magical realm type stuff. Because Doctor Strange isn't interested in being an Avenger. So, okay. So, Loki, Shang-Chi, who you want to do next?
So I already mentioned Sam Wilson. So let's hop on him because he
We know the most
I
about
feel
him, I
bad.
feel like, between
Yeah, we do, but I just feel bad for Sam Wilson. He got put in such a weird spot. First of all, okay, your best friend is like, yeah, I'll be right back. And instead comes back as a 90-year-old man, says, you're Captain America now. And we don't know what happened to him after that. He just
they just let
dipped.
him die on that bench.
He just dipped. Like, here. I know I went back in time, went all the way back through the civil rights movement, all the way up until now. And
And I
yes,
still think this is a good
and I
idea.
still think this is a good call. I'm not going to tell you where I was during MLK assassination because I can't
Uh,
let history change. Like I have so many questions about
he
how
just
Marvel
sat in a
time travel
chair
works.
while,
Right.
yeah. And
But yeah, and
sorry,
so
I was getting upset for Loki again because I'm like, they go back, they mess up all this stuff, and then the Loki who responds to them gets taken out by the TV. Anyway, I'm still mad. I'm still
right.
mad. But yeah, poor Sam
Yeah,
Wilson. I
that's
agree.
a
He was put in a
lot.
very tough spot. Like, take out the obvious race stuff, take out the obvious superhuman versus human. Replacing someone is hard. I mean, think about it. Think about how big of a deal we make. Who's going to play Batman? Who's going to play James Bond? Who's going to do the right? And like, those are characters. Those don't matter. And this is a genuine superhero persona. Like,
Right.
that's hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think about and I can't even think about it on a superhero level. Like in real life, I feel like the closest we have to it is like, okay, the best player on my favorite sports team is retiring. Who's going to be the next player they draft? And I'm like, really? That's who we use for that draft pick? Come on. Like, no way. Like,
So, like,
that's
when Michael Jordan, like, left and it's like,
right.
"Ooh,
Yeah.
uh-oh."
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah,
how do
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah, yeah,
replace
yeah,
that?
yeah.
And they still
I like
haven't.
that analogy.
Yeah, that's that it's kind of that's one of the things that's the closest because like you said, the ones we named are all fictional characters, right?
Yeah.
Like who's gonna be the next Batman, right? And it's like in hindsight, it doesn't really matter. But in this, it's like, okay, Captain America's gone. But America insists that that's not a one-off and America will always need a Captain America. And so they did what made sense and gave it to a war criminal, right? They did that perfect. Like they followed they followed the U.S. playbook, play by play, and did what the United States always does, which is make the right decision when no other decisions are available. They're like, okay, fine, 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 fine. Now that our Captain America pick killed someone live on TV with the shield, I guess we can let the black guy be Captain America.
Okay, poor Sam Wilson, and we've had some movies and some other thing and TV show and stuff. Like, we've seen some really good stuff delving into Sam Wilson. But then we mentioned earlier this season, okay, Steve Rogers, he's coming back. And specifically, they're showing Captain America version, or so it seems,
Mhm,
you know, not Human Torch. So it seems. You never know with the MCU. But yeah, there's this big question mark of if Steve Rogers is around,
mhm.
what's again happening to the
What's
moniker of
his name?
Captain America? And what yeah,
I have so many
there's
questions
just a
because
big question mark for what Sam Wilson, what's the best route to go here?
yeah, I feel like Marvel's gonna have to re-examine their time travel rules for this too, because the last Steve Rogers we saw was 90 years old,
Well, it's probably a
and
different one, I would assume.
I
Or
guess
yeah, it's getting all over the place where it's you know what? Is it gonna be like Back to the Future where you gotta be careful because 'cause you're starting to overlap with all your time travel and it's starting to get confusing?
I would
That might be
love
what happens.
for Biff Tannen to be in the MCU. I,
I
for one,
I'm down for that. That would be
a
incredible.
little on the nose, but it'd be perfect,
Who cares?
right?
Who cares?
But yeah, all right. So Sam, I haven't even gotten to the laundry list of like stress that this man must feel. So he becomes the new Captain America.
Yeah.
There's no telling what his Facebook comments look like, right? Right? Like he just needs to hide from all social media. He's trying to balance like still having a family life because unlike Steve Rogers, he still has a full family. He
Yeah.
still has he still has his sister and her business and all of that. And now he's also trying to juggle like running missions because this is unlike Steve Rogers. This is just a guy with a jetpack. That's it.
Yeah.
Like he's had military
He has
training, but
but he has to train. Captain
right.
America didn't have to try that hard.
He had to learn to throw the shield. He had to learn to catch the shield.
He had to not die
He,
going through the process of becoming
right,
superpowered, to be fair,
right,
and he had a good countenance for it. But yeah, he did not have to. I mean, there's definitely a growth mindset to things. So some things are gonna come more naturally for some people, and then other people might have to work harder at it. Everyone's gotta work.
right.
If
And
Captain
that
America's gonna be good, he's gotta train, he's gotta do things. But yeah, Captain America doesn't have to train as hard because 'cause he's got the superpowers. It's just the
and that's
reality of the situation.
And I love the diversity of the Avengers, like when you look at their power sets, but they're clearly tiered characters. Like you go back and
Mm,
look at the Avengers, and it's at the end of Endgame, it was wonderful when all of a sudden you hear Cap it Sam on your left. And it's like, oh my God, You didn't say, thank God Sam Wilson is here. You said, oh my God, everyone is back. Because if Sam Wilson had been the only one that came through that portal, guess what? Y'all
Yeah.
are in a lot of trouble. Like, I love you, Jetpack Guy, but is anyone else with you?
So here's the thing. Steve Rogers was trying to be ahead of his time in a number of different ways, but even ahead of the time because he was already ahead of his time to be in the present. But even ahead of that, right? Where so the person who's the most powerful is not necessarily the best leader and not necessarily the best moniker for something, the best symbol, that kind of thing. And so obviously Steve Rogers was looking at this more through the perspective of you are the kind of person who can take this and take it to a different place, a
Mhm.
different stage. It can't be the same because it's not going to be Steve Rogers. So who can make it something different that it needs to be. And so that's where he's coming from. The problem is that we're humans and what are we going to do? We're going to make a direct comparison and we're going to say, "Sorry dude, you're not him."
Right.
And yeah, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, he's Captain America was in charge of the team. He didn't have to create the team. He had to keep it going in some ways, and he veered it off into Civil War and everything. You know how I feel about that. But the thing is he didn't have to build it from scratch either. So I feel like that's a huge stressor for Sam Wilson that's different also because Captain America, he unfroze and he was told like, "Hey, I've got this Avengers initiative. You on board?"
Yeah.
So
And
Sam Wilson's got a different task.
that's what's frustrating about this because the president, who is now locked up in the raft, says reform the Avengers. But this is what the MCU did. They already have the Thunderbolts. In the comics continuity, the Thunderbolts all came from the raft. They're all prisoners. They're basically Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad.
Right. Yeah, because there's nothing original. They just steal from each other.
Yeah, they just, yeah. Captain Marvel, Shazam. Enough said. And so this version of the Thunderbolts is just some people with shady pasts that were out there, but they were all out there. They weren't just
Mm.
like locked up
Yeah, 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 yeah.
in a supermax. They were just like, oh, we work for this lady, and now we're the new
Mhm.
Avengers. And so that in and of itself, I'm like, damn. If he was going to pull somebody, that's who he probably would have gone for because look, they're not in jail. They are just out here existing and super powerful, right? But now it's like, okay, who is he going to go get? Is he going to go pull Spider Man out of school again? Like, like, hey, I know that like your whole link was Tony and like, well, actually, he doesn't know that because, yeah, if he goes and finds Spider Man, Spider Man's going to know everything about him. He's not going to know anything about Spider Man.
Oh, right, because of all the memory wipe stuff, yeah.
Right. And so
Yeah.
it's yeah. And so I think this next Spider-Man movie might even touch on it a little bit, like how all of that is going. But yeah,
Yeah.
he got hit with a hell of a task. The current jailed president just asked him to reform the Avengers with another Avengers team already out there.
Yep. Which,
Right?
let's be real, they are not the Avengers in the way that the Avengers had been. So,
Absolutely not.
I
They're a hot
I
mess express. They're
they're a hot mess express. That's a
yeah.
really great way of putting it. Oh, yeah, it is a really tricky task because, it's not gonna be what it was, but there's gonna be a pull to make it what it was. Who's in charge? What's the mission statement? So, you know how you and me, we're millennials, we've been in the workplace a while. You know, when you're in a meeting and it's a required meeting and you go, why are we even here? You know what I mean? I feel like that would be the Avengers at this point. So Who's in charge? What's it about? What are the mission and vision statements? Like, what's the targeted purpose of this thing at this point? And theoretically, it would probably be, hey, keep the world from falling apart and whatnot. But also, who knows? I mean, like you said, things are so scattered and all over the place. And I don't know. I'm with you. Sam Wilson's got a really hard task. He's going to have a heart attack by 45
Yeah,
at this,
it's a
although
lot.
maybe he's 45. I don't know how old he is.
Go reform the Avengers with who? I don't know, dude. See who got unsnapped. Like I don't know. Like go. Have
That's
you tried Yelp? Like
looking at people who came back from the snap is a really good method because you're going to get the people who are less burned out.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's like oh yeah, like
So,
okay,
yeah, that's a decent call. And
yeah,
like you said, Shang-Chi, that would be nice, fresh, like new to it, but also very well trained. I could see potentially like their personalities getting along fairly well. As long as Sam Wilson didn't approach Shang-Chi as too much of a taskmaster, then that could go a
yeah.
little.
And I think that, yeah, and I really do think that like this might be one of those things where this movie could potentially set up, and I keep beating this dead horse because I want it. This movie might be what sets up the Young Avengers because the only people that Sam can find are finishing up SATs. Like,
And need a signed consent form from the parents to
right.
fight crime, yeah. Yeah, which we'll have an episode on, you all, don't you worry. We will
Yeah.
talk about Young Avengers a
Yeah.
little bit
It's a
more.
hashtag Young Avengers is a thing. Like, yeah, I am.
Make
I
it
I
happen.
will I will fight for this.
Yeah. So
And
Sam Wilson falling apart at the seams probably.
maybe he finds Nick Fury. Maybe Nick Fury can help him out with that though. Like
That's
Nick
true.
Fury
Nick
is
Fury's
like
what, floating around in space with
right.
aliens and stuff? Like,
Something,
what the
yeah.
heck is he
So
doing these
maybe he
days?
can maybe he'll pop
You
back
know
in
what
and
Nick
show
Fury would
up.
probably do? He, like, talks to Sam Wilson, it's like, "You idiot, why would you do that to yourself?
Right,
Like, get out of that."
right.
I feel like Nick Fury would be like, "I don't know, you and me need to have a talking about
Yeah.
making poor choices for yourself."
Absolutely. Like
It's a
here,
tough
take that
task, I'm with you.
helicarrier, but I'm gonna stay in space drinking coffee until I get attacked again. Like, but I have a cat for that. And so yeah, so Sam Wilson, and that he's already been given an impossible task, right?
Yep.
Because he became Captain America at the wildest time when like half the population just popped back up. The other half that had moved on, it's like, you can't just take our homes away. Like, he
Mhm.
has been given such a wild task. And after the events of Brave New World,
Yep.
it did not get any easier. The president is the Hulk now, is a Hulk now. Like, there's so
Now,
much going on.
here's the thing, though. We're literally about to have something go on that's called Doomsday, i.e., probably not good. Probably a giant event. And so, remembering back to when we were talking about at the beginning of the season, the Avengers in general, and if you think about it, not really the team struggles to stay together, a
Mhm.
lot of key points. And the thing is that chaos, destruction, a really big event, obviously it's a terrible thing for everyone, and it forces everybody or a lot of people to work together who would not otherwise. And so in some ways, this probably will make Sam Wilson's task a lot easier. Now, will there be power struggles and things like that? I would assume probably because Thor's rolling back in, Steve Rogers might be rolling back in. There are people coming into the picture. And so, might there be a pull for like, should it be Sam Wilson or not? Maybe. But generally speaking, in terms of pulling together a team, getting them on the same page, having them see it as worthwhile and important, creating that mission, right? What's the clear focus? If there's a catastrophe going on, that makes all that stuff really easy. It's in between the catastrophes where things can really struggle. And he's been trying to build things with, granted, catastrophes happening, but like the I was gonna say the little kind. They're big deals, but not in the MCU. They're not universal, they're not multiversal, okay, the president, he turned into a Red Hulk, aw shucks, but in comparison,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
True.
not aliens destroying New York City, I guess. So, in some ways, this will I think this will propel things forward.
Mhm.
So Sam Wilson will have a clearer vision of where he's going. Is
Definitely.
it the Avengers? Who knows? It'll take going through this catastrophe to figure that out, but this I think will there's been this this really hazy situation they've been in and
Yeah.
things will definitely take a turn when you're dealing with something called doomsday.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right. Now,
Okay.
last but not least, we have Remy LeBeau, aka Gambit,
Ooh,
played by Channing Tatum. Now, from what I have heard, it will still be it'll be a different Gambit from what we had in Deadpool Wolverine because they already said his accent will be different because they said this Gambit is going to have a much more serious tone than
okay.
the cool but comic relief, as if that movie had any comic relief.
Watched it the other day and I always
Like,
forget
right.
how much
Like it was
Deadpool
all
movies
comic
make me
relief.
smile. Oh,
Right.
so good, so good.
But so in this movie, they already said like it's going to be much serious tone. I'm wondering if he's listed because he is now a member of whatever the X-Men team is
That'll
that
be showing up.
is going to be showing up. Like, I wonder if it's just going to be something super quick, or is he the same Gambit that we had in Deadpool Wolverine, whose reality was basically destroyed. And so he just kind of is
Yeah.
fitting into whatever this new reality is
Yeah.
that he is in. Yeah.
Yeah. If anything, the accents should definitely be swapped. Because so I was watching Deadpool Wolverine and he's got the Cajun accent or Creole accent or,
Hmm.
whatever. And but his whole story is like, I don't know, I was plopped here probably when I was a baby. So where the heck did he get the accent from? If he grew up in the void,
Huh. Yeah.
where did he get the accent from? So if anything, if this is a different version of him, this one should have the accent. But anyway, it's
Yeah.
cool. It's whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't know it'd be a more serious version.
But
Yeah,
Gambit is, yeah, they haven't
I
even,
would like to see
go
him with
ahead.
X-Men.
Yeah, I think so. But also, we could potentially see the Gambit variant that is overly powerful. So there's so many different versions. In Marvel, I get so many timelines confused. There's one Marvel timeline where Gambit is insanely powerful, like so powerful that he basically, the way that he can add kinetic energy to any object he touches, he did it to like the earth and mistakenly killed everyone. Like
Well,
I
whoops.
can't. I'll get eaten alive on TikTok for not getting this 100% right. It'll happen, but I'll see y'all in the comments. It's fine. Like, but yeah, he. There are certain iterations of him that get like insanely powerful because he can just basically charge anything with energy the same way he does his
Mm,
playing cards no matter
yeah.
how big the object. And so I'm really, if they could go so many different directions with him, and I'm thinking he's going to be with the X-Men because
I mean, that would definitely
Deadpool
make sense.
Deadpool Wolverine, we already saw him with a ragtag team that got thrown together at the last minute. Like, they've
Yeah.
done that
Yep.
already,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would
yeah.
love to see him working with a well-trained
Yes.
X-Men team that were raised as child soldiers to fight the good fight, right? Like,
Like everybody does. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a thing.
I agree. They've done the ragtag, throw them in with a bunch of people. We have not seen Gambit as we're used to seeing Gambit if you follow X-Men in any version. I know much less about X-Men than you, but I'm even used to Gambit being one of the characters, when you're looking at X-Men as a whole. So that would be fun to see him integrated into the X-Men as we've gotten used to them.
The thing is, after all this plays out, the one thing that I am kind of hoping they don't do is where they're like, let's see who's left over after all this and give them their own spin-off TV show. Like, I don't know if I want Gambit and Hulk like living in an apartment together. Like, because that sounds like something that Disney would do. Like, okay, like, all right, yeah, Gambit, y'all liked him. Well, guess what? He's gonna be living with Groot now. Okay. Okay. I am
But
Groot and he
alright.
has cards and he's like exploding cards while they play Uno and it's funny and whatever. Like, I don't know where this is headed, but I think that it is going to be something super serious in tone. And from the information they released, he is not going to be the comic relief
Yeah.
of
Well,
this one.
I wonder if the X-Men are gonna have gone through some shit.
I think so. I mean, from what we saw in the trailer, like just that little snippet, I'm like, whoo.
Yeah, like one of the periods of time where they're getting taken out by humans and they're having to like I wonder if it's one of those where they've dwindled down and a lot of them have died and
Yeah.
they're, that's what I'm guessing maybe might be going on with them. I'm very interested to see because I think a part of me hopes that they show how do I want to say this? I don't want the reason for everything coming together to be multiverses coming together. I want to see some of the characters that we've seen be explained in how they might exist in the same world and same multiverse together, if that makes sense. Like some coming together from other multiverses, totally fine. But I love the idea of, here is how Loki and Shang-Chi and Sam Wilson and, just these layers of characters, how you all and the X-Men. Like,
Mhm.
how does it make sense that they were all there, but we've not been touching on them together? I would love to fill in those blanks. So I think for me, I like this idea that you're talking about or that we're talking about with Gambit, and maybe it's integrated with the X-Men, and then us seeing what have the X-Men been dealing with while the Avengers have been going on, while, Shang-Chi's been figuring out magic and yeah, weaving them together more in the same multiverse.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that they're gonna have to do something different. Like maybe all of these different things are happening in different universes, and at the very end of the movie, they might meet people from the other multiverse. And the reason I say that is because I'm wondering if Marvel is gonna try to not be redundant where they do the thing that they do in every Avengers movie. It's like, oh look, now that they all together, they got to fight a big ass army. They did it. They do
Yep,
it like
yep,
every single time, right? Like
yep.
Avengers 1, Avengers 2, like
So it sounds like you're thinking more X-Men Days of Future Past, where you've got something going on in the right in these different in that case it was timelines.
right. Almost more like when they all split up to go get the different Infinity Stones.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I think it might be something like that where it's
Okay,
everyone
yeah.
separate and they might not even be aware of what the other teams are doing, but all of it is significant.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Maybe.
thinking it might be. And that feels more realistic because when
Yep.
you look at like the Marvel universe, you have so many different teams because you have the Fantastic Four, but you have the X-Men and you have the Avengers and you have Alpha Flight and you have like the West Coast Avengers and all of these different teams that all do very different things,
Yeah.
right? Then you have the Nova Corps, who are like the outer space Green Lanterns of the MCU, right? Like you have all of these different teams, all of these different characters that all have a job to do. And every month when we go to the comic book store, we see what they're up to at that particular job while everything else is going on
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
simultaneously. And so I'm thinking that, like, even if these are all going to be characters from different multiverses, they're all going to kind of play a significant role separately because at this
Mm,
point, 30 people on screen at the same time is too
that's a lot.
much. It's too much.
I gotta agree with you there,
It
yeah.
doesn't sound fun. Like that's hard to write dialogue for like at a Thanksgiving table, right? Like that's
Yeah.
it's getting up there.
Yeah, when your table gets so big that you can really only talk to the 2 people next to you.
Right. Like even like yeah, like even
But
like
in
you
movie
even
format, yep.
yeah, I mean even when you look at the painting of the Last Supper, I'm like that
Well, that table just made no sense.
right. Yeah, it's yeah, but at the same
There's
time
no
like
way yeah, that
yeah,
that should have been set up completely differently.
there's a lot of like, what did you say? What? I
Yep.
didn't hear you. I'm down here, right? And
But, like,
so
now across the multiverse, so it's like,
yeah.
got to pull some of your comic book knowledge, which since we've been doing MCU, thanks for nerding out with us. I'm clinical psychologist Dr. Amelia Brown.
And I'm educator and comic aficionado Keaton Hopkins. Check out my TV and movie reviews on YouTube at Team JVS. Check out our website at bat-therapy.com, our Bat Therapy YouTube channel, and follow us on social media. And don't forget our Patreon page at patreon.com/bat therapy. See you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.